In this lesson, we'll cover family files and family file templates. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Revit, you may be asking yourself, well, what is a family file? Well, a family file is any of the content you use to build your Revit model. For example, in architecture, it could be a door type or a window type or a wall type. In the case of MEP, it could be an HVAC duct type or a specific type of pipe or a plumbing fixture or a conduit or an electrical wire type. All of these are family files. Now, you may also be asking, well, what are these family files? Which ones are in my Revit project? Well, as you know from previous lessons, you should start your Revit files based on a template or a project template. Those project templates have a lot of stuff loaded into them, including family files. Looking at the project that I have open right now on my screen, you may be wondering, well, what family files are in this? Well, whatever you have open, in the lower left in your project browser, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you should have a group called Families. If you click the plus to the left of Families, you'll see all of these family types that are preloaded into this Revit project. And you can see there's a vast array of different types that are loaded in. Now, not everything is loaded into this project because it would just be simply too huge of a file if you had every possible type of family file loaded in. So let's look at the different types of ducts that are loaded into this project. So if I scroll up or down to the heading called Ducts, click the plus to the left of it, I could see two subheadings are listed, rectangular and round. And below each, there are a few family files that are listed. So under rectangular duct, I have two family files, one mitered elbows taps and the other mitered elbows tees. If you click on the first one, you'll actually see the properties above it in the property window. You can also double click on that. It'll show me the same thing, but in a new floating window that opens. If you open the floating window, just click OK to close it. So these are the types of ducts that are loaded into my project that I could currently use when I'm creating a new HVAC run and I need a particular type of duct. To see this in action, what I'll first do is simply click on the white area of your screen to exit out of anything you've clicked on, and then go to the Systems tab on the top and click the command duct. Once you do that, in the property area right below that, if you click the drop down, you'll see you now have the option of choosing one of those three ducts we just looked at in the family area of the project browser on the bottom. So you could select whatever one you want and set your settings on the option bar and continue on designing in Revit. Now you may be saying, well, what other types of family files are out there? What if I don't see it? How can I get those into my project? Hit the escape key or click the modify key in the ribbon to exit out of the duct command. And now to bring in any other type of family file that's not in your project, there's a multitude of ways to do it. But one way is I can go to the Insert tab, and then over toward the right, I can click Load Family. This will open a new window, and by default, it'll either go to your Imperial or Metric folder, again, depending on how you installed Revit, in the specific location. Looking at my drop-down on my computer, it's on the C drive, Program Data, Autodesk, Revit 2015, under Libraries, and then US Imperial, since that's my standard. Now, the folders listed here are all of the family type folders of content that you could load into your project. This is all preloaded and installed by Revit in that installation directory, but is not all in your project files, simply because it would be too big. So if you wanted to look at additional ducts, you can go down to where you see duct, double-click duct, and then you have two subheadings. I'm going to click the fittings, double-click it, and then you have additional subheadings under that, and I'll double-click rectangular. Again, subheadings below it, and I could double-click taps. And then here are additional taps that you could load into your Revit project and utilize within the system of whatever you want to design. So for example, I could click the last one, rectangular tap, and it will show me a preview over on the right. And then to load that in, you could just simply click open. It'll load it into your project. It'll place it in the family tree in the project browser in the lower left, and you're able to use that in design with. This example, though, I'm just going to click cancel. Now, another question may come up is, well, what if you want to make a new family file? You want to take one of these existing ones and you want to modify it and create a new type, if you will. So for example, if I look at the round duct types and I look at taps, double-click taps, that'll open a new window. And one method is, in this case, you would duplicate this family type or this family file, creating a new one, name it what you want, and then modify any of that data in it. That's the preferred method. Technically, what you don't want to do is modify the existing one, simply because if and when you go to upgrade, these existing types can be overwritten and updated with the new ones that come out in the next release of Revit. So general rule is you duplicate, and that's what the duplicate button is in the upper right. You would duplicate this type. It creates a new type, again, based on this one, but then you could change the values of whatever you want and make modifications and then use it in your design. And we're not going to go into that. We're just kind of touch base on it as an overview. That's one method. Go ahead and click Cancel. Now, another part of this lesson we were going to talk about is the family file templates. And this is the second instance. If you want to make a family file that's based on nothing, in other words, from scratch, this is the method you would go about doing that. Go to the large R in the upper left. You can go to New, and then I can click Family. Now, when you click Family, just like when you would click Project, create a new project, you're presented with a list of family file types that you can use as a basis for creating that element. So if I scroll down the duct, you can see there's different types of duct family templates that you could use to create a new duct. So if I click on the duct T, I'll see a pictorial over on the right, a little preview with reference geometry, assisting me for creating this actual three-dimensional duct family file. So when you go ahead and click Open, it'll create the new family file based on that template, grouping it under the duct T family. And again, you're presented with that reference geometry to start designing and building. Now, the interface is a little different. The ribbon is in the family editor mode. So it does take a little understanding of how you would build this, because you are building in 3 dimensions and you're also designing with attributes, intelligence inside of these system elements. So it can calculate flow, how to go together with another piece, etc. In this lesson, we're not going to go into that in depth. So just go ahead and click the X in the upper right, and that'll take us back to our project. So in summary, we looked at different family files within your project, which ones are here, and if they're not there, how do we load them? And then we also looked at creating new family files, either by duplicating an existing one or creating one from scratch.